So we're back again talking about Scum. Did I mention we got a lot of comments in our last Scum video that we didn't give this game enough of a chance and we should have been playing more hours into it. So that's what we did, right? We played more Scum.
So I started trying to base build. I found the build menu in the cluttered UI, and I started trying to build the foundations. Everything was red, wouldn't let me build it. Couldn't figure out why. I even looked up on Google. I googled like where I can build to make sure I wasn't in a no build zone or something like that, and I wasn't. I eventually figured out that I needed to build a flag first to kind of mark my territory. That's fine. I'm thinking, all right, I need some sticks and I need some cloth to build a regular flag. I find out you have to have metal scraps to build flags. I haven't found a single shred of metal scraps that day as I was playing, but I'm also thinking about back to the other times I've played and realizing I've found like one or two pieces here and there, but I haven't found enough metal scrap in the entire time I've played Scum to even craft a flag to start building a base.
Broken down cars have tons of scrap, garbage heaps, boxes inside storage sheds, you
Yeah,
know,
well,
those
you know,
things.
I was finding apartments and the apartments were empty. I wasn't finding storage sheds, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to say though, I think the base building in it was enjoyable because it definitely required a lot of materials to get started. I was able to build a flag right away because I searched the car wrecks and stuff like that, unlike you. And I was able to place a flag, although I didn't fully finish it. I was able to start placing it, which then gave me the ability to actually start building. So that might be a tip for you. You don't actually have to build the flag fully to be able to just place it. And then I went looking for toolkits because you need a toolkit, whether it's improvised or a regular one. But I found a wheelbarrow and I was able to start filling the wheelbarrow with some of the stuff. And this is actually where I'll say Scum actually is kind of fun because there are mechanics in the game I would love to see in other survival games. And the wheelbarrow is exactly one of them. It's actually something that in real life, if it was survival and I didn't have a car, I would use. Wheelbarrows are great for hauling heavy loads. So you see me for like, my last stream playing for like 40 minutes, pushing a wheelbarrow up and down hills and stuff. I literally looked like a hobo with a wheelbarrow going from town to town, looting. And I was able to fill it a lot, and I was able to do a lot of cool stuff because I was able to fill it. However, that's where my base building kind of ended is I just ended up having to travel so far away from my base to find all the stuff I needed that I never went back to my base because traveling in Scum, because it's a large world, is beautiful, but it's also a lot of time invested if you're pushing a wheelbarrow or even walking on foot.
It's interesting how different our experiences are and have been because I didn't find a single car the entire time I've played. I've not seen I've seen broken down and shells of vehicles here and there. I haven't seen anything that looks drivable or that I could go up to and appear that I could work on to see if it had an engine, to see if it needed tires. I haven't seen a single vehicle that is pilotable in the game. I end up wandering from I end up looting this one town where the interior of almost every building in the town looks exactly the same. I wander down the road for 30 minutes, finally find another town. I'm hungry, so I got to loot this town. And I spend another 30 minutes to an hour looting another town full of buildings that look almost exactly the same. Now, Scum, you mentioned that the world is beautiful. The outside is fantastic. It looks great. It is pretty. It is cool to explore. But once you get into the towns, for me, that's where like my boredom and disinterest started kind of settling in because most of the buildings look the same. Most of the layouts are the same when you get inside of them.
I believe that it comes from Scum's loot system, which is looting cabinets and crates and stuff like that. But it's a search bar. It's not necessarily you picking up individual items, which kind of gives it a lot more of a monotonous task. Like run into a house, you know exactly every place to search and see whether or not the random loot table gives you what you're looking for. And while that's okay and all, and there are things that give specific items versus other ones that don't, it does make the interiors of these buildings, like you're talking about, very boring because it isn't like a, oh, hey, maybe I should look in that cabinet. Oh, look, there's a can of beans. It's a, I'm going to search that cabinet, wait for the wheel to finish, and boom, oh, I have a can of beans or I don't.
I think another thing that the searching and looting could benefit from is when you're searching these cabinets, if they had some kind of animation that showed them open or something like that when you were done searching them, so you knew you searched that area. Now, I don't know exactly if that would work as well in public servers and things like that. But I'm thinking like in 7 Days to Die, when you loot a cabinet and you take everything out of it, the cabinet door opens just a little bit. Like it's not a lot. It just
Mm,
opens a little bit to show that has been looted and is now empty. And
mhm.
I noticed with Scum, with me looting these buildings, there's a few times where I ended up doing like a big circle in the top floor and ending up in a room going, did I already search all these cabinets? And going through and searching them again and finding nothing again because I already either looted them or searched them.
When it comes to other features of the game, I would say the medical system, for me at least, became a little bit easier to understand and to work with now that I kind of had the basics of how to use it. So there are elements, I would say, of playing the game longer that became easier to do. Again, the medical system, I felt it was a lot easier for me to craft. Like I ended up finding out that there's a tab in the crafting menu. If you click on it, it will show you all the craftable items in your inventory and vicinity. That was a nice tab to find. And honestly, I kind of wish I would have found it in our first impressions of the game because it would have changed my opinion of the crafting UI drastically, honestly. But like, there are other things that I didn't necessarily like. Like, I got an infection, but I didn't know how to cure it. And I didn't even know I had an infection technically because it wasn't until someone in chat, thank you for person in chat, told me about it and said, you have an infection and it's going to kill you if you don't take care of it. You need antibiotics or you need to eat garlic. And when it did happen, my character started getting other infections on his body. So it was spreading. So, like, it's definitely not something you can ignore. Again, medical system was easier to use. The crafting system was better because I saw that I could craft all the items in it. But like, I do agree with the people in chat. I believe if I could sink 60 plus hours into this game, I would start to enjoy a lot of the systems more because the systems themselves aren't bad. It's the time it takes to get into these systems. It's the time it takes to get into base building, to crafting, to doing all this stuff. I mean, you can fly planes, helicopters, you can do ski mobiles. If you're too heavy, you jump in water, you can literally sink to the bottom and drown to death. It's hilariously funny. But like, there's a trader in the game. I'm pretty sure some multiplayer servers may have it disabled, but that was cool. I'm just going to say that the time investment for this game is too high for the average person to put into it because I don't think any person who, an average Joe who puts an hour or two a day into this, or even let's say 2 or 3 hours a week, could play this game enough to get to the point where they start enjoying the game because of their progress.
We both really enjoy certain other games that have a complex medical system. Both of us really enjoy Green Hell, and we both know that Green Hell can be hell to try to learn how to cure certain things if you don't already know. Um,
Yep.
but I like that aspect of Scum, but I think Scum took that a little bit too far. I think their medical system's a little too complicated. And again, as with most things that we talk about, maybe it's because I don't understand it fully yet. I spent another 5 minutes last time I played trying to figure out how to put bandages on again. But we're not going to talk about that. But it it's a daunting task when you pull up both the tab and the metabolism tab to see all this data and all these numbers staring back at you. And I just want to sit there and be like, what do I do with this? Like this wasn't covered in the tutorial, and I don't have a master's degree in Scum, so I don't know what to do. And I'm sure it's not as complicated as it seems. Much like Green Hell, when we played Green Hell even more, I even said that about their medical system. It's more intuitive once you get to know it. So, and I think that all that boils down to, I think that Scum has some good things going for it if you can find them. And I think that if I could find something that would draw me in, I would be interested to put more time into it and see if that 50, 60 hours would get me to the point of wanting to play it more. But when I feel like there's nothing that draws me in the early game until I get to 50, 60 hours, I don't know that I can put 50 or 60 hours into it to get to that point. And that's my problem. Like even the combat against the puppets or whatever they're called doesn't interest me enough to make me want to continue. Like there's that sprinkling of maybe a story in there with those with what they are, but there's nothing to emphasize that to make me want to find out more.
Well, folks, that has been our take on Scum. Once again, giving it more time and effort into what we think Scum is. And this is our honest opinion about it so far. Join me in thanking Dimension 119 and Red Falcon for helping me run and keep this podcast going. Thank you very much for watching this State of Survival. To talk for now.
See you in another dimension.